Welcome, members of District 38 and those outside of our district. My name is Chris Velasco, and I am the Education Chair for District 38. A lot of clubs, we found out in our officer training, don't have a formal member orientation. And to help the clubs with their new members, officers are so busy at this time of year, they're just ramping up and getting used to their new officer roles or just being an officer. So what I want to do is help out the clubs as much as I can. And I offered to host a member orientation of pathways, how to select a path, etc. So this is going to be a guide. I am going to start by bringing you through the basics of, we still have people coming in the waiting room. All right. All right. So let me share my screen. And no. I have to find my window. There it is. All right. Let's get started. For some people, you may have never even logged into Toastmasters International. Your membership application has been approved and you received your email welcoming you to the organization, but you haven't logged in. So Toastmasters will set up all new members with their email as their user ID. And then if you've never signed in before, go down to first time logging in to create your password. And please make sure that you use something that's familiar or jot it down just so you have it. But once you do log in, and I'm going to log in myself, you will be brought to the Toastmasters home screen. Now, because Toastmasters has already set up your membership, you may come right to your home screen. Now, the Toastmasters home screen looks a little different. It's where just somebody that's not a member would land. And if you happen to land here when you log in, simply go up to your welcome, click on My Home, and that'll bring you to your personal home screen. So we all know that this is catered to your membership. Now, I'm an officer, so I have additional items on my home screen. But for members, they're going to land here with going to base camp, learning hub, and your achievement board. Now, the learning hub is a wonderful place for resources. If you need additional assistance, learning certain things about how to use vocal variety, body language, how to get over fears, you can start looking in the Learning Hub or your resources. The resource tab on the Toastmasters site has videos, has tutorials. There's a host of information here. So beyond your club officers, your mentor, your VPE and VPM in your club, you have the entire organization of Toastmasters International to assist you along the way. So what I want to do first is let's pick our path. So come up to no matter what landing page you're at, go to your education programs. And I'm going to show you how you can pick your path. We're going to scroll all the way down here. and we're going to choose a path. There's 6 different paths in Toastmasters at this time. Now, there's changes coming in October, and I've heard a little bit about some of the things they're going to be pulling into our projects and our paths, our different levels. So I'm excited to see what those are. But let's start with the 6 existing paths. You're going to select your language that you are most comfortable with. After all, it's an international program. You can have all of your things sent to you in the language you are most comfortable in speaking and reading. Now, you can take an assessment, and this is an algorithm that after you answer certain questions, do you fear public speaking? Are you comfortable with a lot of attention on you? Are you able to start up conversations with strangers? Various questions like that. It will lead you to a couple of different choices, what may suit you based on how you answer those questions. But I want to show you and all the questions. Here we go. I want to show you all the paths, rather, and give you a bit of a summary, just so if you do choose that to take the algorithm and the survey, you'll know a little bit about each path before you make a selection. Now, presentation mastery. This is the ground floor for public speaking. You will be presented with different projects that where you get to learn the techniques of public speaking. Eye contact, vocal variety, working the room on the stage. If you've seen any contests, you know how the contestants go from side to side so that all of their audience can see them and hear them well. So presentation mastery is great if you are a beginner and you want to learn from the ground up. Dynamic leadership. This is if you want to learn about leadership. You may already be a good presenter, but your focus, your goals are to become a better leader in your career. So this will cater the projects more towards leading projects, leading groups. And it could be you may do several different tasks within your club, and you'll be the point person, much like a project manager or a supervisor would do in the workplace. So this is going to give you more of a leadership challenge than a communication challenge. Engaging humor. Now, I do recommend you only choose engaging humor if you are very good at communication and you have no interest in leadership. This is just a totally fun path to do. And I'm saving this for my last one because I want to get all the skills under my belt before I take on adding humor into my presentations. Now, motivational strategies. Great for if you're in a career like a project manager, if you're leading a team and you need to really think about the what ifs or the downstream effects. This is, like it says, emotional intelligence and team building. Sometimes working with a lot of different people, you have a lot of different personalities. You may need to communicate differently to different people in different ways. So this is leadership, but it's also communication. And it's a lot about thinking ahead and planning ahead as well. Visionary communication. If you want to challenge yourself in how to persuade somebody to think your way, challenge your negotiation skills, your debating skills, much in like when you have an annual review, and you're talking about whether or not you're going to get a raise, how much of a raise, or the promotion that you want. This is for visionary leaders. And being able to carefully craft a communication or plan for the worst case scenario takes some skills. And this will incorporate challenges for you within your path. Now, the sixth path is one that I've already selected, which is persuasive influence. My team collaboration, that's an old legacy path, but persuasive influence is the number 6 path. This talks about if you're leading a project team and people do not get along, or you just lead a team of people. Say you have 10 people reporting up to you, but not everybody gets along. And there's a little nitpicking and sniping, whatever it is. You need to be able to deal with that. Much in like you will learn how to carefully craft a speech evaluation, you will learn how to manage with conflict resolution within a team. And you're going to develop skills for a lot of different situations because you're going to be asked to be put into certain situations that are very uncomfortable. But if we don't get into those uncomfortable situations, well, how are we going to learn to deal with them? So that's what I love about this program. So these are the 6 paths. So you can, when you come in here, let's see, take your assessment, and it's a series of questions. And like I said, it's going to lead you to a selection of 2 or 3 paths. Or you can go right to view all path options and select your path that way. Once you do select your path, what happens is it'll make sure, I think it asks you like 2 or 3 times if you really want to select that path. And then it'll bring you to a selection to go to base camp. But what I want to do is go back to my home screen, because this is where you're going to be coming after you select your path. And that's where you're going to spend most of your time, coming into your home screen, and then you click on base camp. Now, one thing before I click on this, I want to let you know, once you select your path, it takes a little while, okay? Maybe an hour, depending on the time of day and what time the office out west is open. It takes a little while for your path to get uploaded to your membership. So you may want to select your path and then come back to it a few hours later, and then you'll be able to get in. So when I select go to my path, here I come. Now, I said I had 2 paths: persuasive influence and team collaboration. A lot of people, they do have more than one path. And this is ideal if you belong to 1 or more clubs. Now, for a while, I did belong to 2 clubs, and I was following team collaboration for my corporate club. And then persuasive influence would be for my community club. This way, I could easily divvy up when I completed my levels who would get credit for my completed levels. And I'm going to explain at the very end how you completing your projects not only helps you develop your skills, but it does help your club. So let me go into persuasive influence. Now, I have not started this path only because I really wanted to have a new member orientation and bring people through right from the beginning. So on your left, you will see there's nothing completed. It's 0%. And I'm on level 1. Every level has every path has 5 levels. So level 1 in this path consists of an icebreaker and let's see. Let me see where it's right. Here it is. Writing a speech with purpose, introduction to vocal variety and body language, evaluation and feedback. And then the level completion, which is nothing more than you just verifying that you completed the level. The levels do vary in the number of projects you need to do. Level 1, there's a lot going on. You do have your icebreaker, which is your introduction to the club. And then most paths do have writing a speech with purpose. This is going to help you focus on one thing. Our icebreakers tend to be, all about me and what I like and what I dislike, where I came from, why I'm joining Toastmasters, all put into one speech. But writing a speech with purpose is for you to focus on one thing. Say, my love for gardening. Then it's a more narrow, focused speech in which I can go into more detail, 5 to 7 minutes on what do I plant? When do I plant it? The flowers, how it starts with my dandelions and I have constant color throughout the year, which ends in my Montauk daisies singing their way through the fall and cheering me up in the front of my house. That speech is helping you to just be more concise and more focused in the speech. Introduction to vocal variety and body language. Some paths have this in 2 separate speeches. So it may only focus on your vocal variety. Body language will be another speech in another level. This is to help you just break out of your shell a little bit, become a little bit more comfortable in front of your audience, trying new things with your voice, to sing, to use your voice to show how excited you are about something, or how sad you were to learn of the news. It's using your voice that sometimes keeps the audience focused on you. And body language, we need gestures. We need to move our body. You can't be stiff in front of the stage. And for a lot of people who are really breaking out of their fears of public speaking and trying to accomplish that, well, body language and gestures can be the hardest thing to do. But it's a comfortable place. It's a safe place. Your meeting with all your members is the best place for you to practice, because we're not judging to, say, oh, look what they did. No, we help you and we say, oh, look what you did. That's the difference in Toastmasters. We love seeing people progress through their paths, all the different levels. So please don't be afraid to push your boundaries and try new things. Evaluation and feedback, this is in all level 1s, and it consists of different parts. You will give a speech. You're going to get evaluated on that speech. You're going to give this speech again, incorporating the feedback. Maybe your speech evaluator wants you to use more vocal variety, wants you to use more gestures, wants you to step out from behind the lectern or the podium. That's why you give it the same speech a second time, because you will see the difference. When you incorporate those changes and you do the speech a second time, you can feel the difference of the speech. You'll notice that you were more comfortable and it wasn't so hard to take those little steps that your evaluator told you about. Then you'll be taught how to evaluate someone else's speech. And don't worry, someone evaluate you on your evaluation. So you're not just going to evaluate a speech and then no one will tell you whether or not you did well. Someone should be evaluating you and coaching you on how to do some speech evaluations. It can be very hard because people don't want to offend anyone. But I got to tell you, by the time you're in your second level, you'll realize how supportive the members in your club are and how we do want to help each other. So the evaluations are just to make you better. They're going to tell you some good things and then some things that you can use that may be polishing points. So once you finish your evaluation and feedback and all of these speeches, you would complete the level. Now, it is recommended that you do these in order, only because it is a strategic way of teaching you. Like I said, your icebreaker is going to be all about different things. Your writing with a speech with purpose is more focused. This is going to get you out of your comfort zone, and then you're going to be learning about how the gift of feedback and how it really is there to help you. So try and do these in order. You don't have to, but you can. But let me come up here to the icebreaker. I'm going to bring you through the various different screens, only so that you can kind of get a feel. Now, there are videos and there are just pages that you would read. I'm not going to open all the videos, but click on the videos, watch the videos. They are pretty short. This one's 3.5 minutes, but this is going to tell you what to expect throughout this whole thing. When you come down here, just click your next button and it brings you through the various different things. When there's carrots, click on them. You want to make sure that you're reading all the material. So click on the carrots. When it comes to buttons, these maroon buttons, they also hold a lot of great information. So don't miss out on clicking those too. Here's another video. All right, overcoming anxiety. That's why a lot of people join. So as you click through these, more information pops up, and then you're going to be able to learn more about the icebreaker. Hopefully your club does have a mentor that'll be assigned to you and will help you through everything, such as your speech evaluation, kind of prompt you in what to expect. But if you want to know ahead of time, you can look at your own evaluation form. And that way, you'll know what your evaluator is going to be looking for and what's going to be said. Now, when you have open-ended questions like this, it is good for you to put in some answers, because after you give your icebreaker, you can look back and see if something that you really feared, like having a speech evaluation, if it was that scary after all or not. So click through everything. Here, there's checklists to keep yourself organized, or you may have a mentor that's really going to guide you through everything. And now let's see, completing your project. Okay. Know your strengths. If you wondered about anything, these are some of the things that I put in when I went in here earlier. I am able to clearly communicate my thoughts and my opinions, and I try to stay relatable. But one thing I wonder is, am I really doing a good job, or are people just being too nice? So I like to really hear the feedback, because in my opinion, I don't improve unless I know what I may be doing wrong or what I could be doing better. So here is just a breakdown, everything to help you with your speech and to make yourself organized. All right. What you may want to do, and let me get into when you are done with your project. And that means after you've given your speech, you don't just read through all of your projects and then not give a speech. You do have to give at least one speech for every project. So complete your project after you've given the speech. But that's how quick it can be. Now, I didn't watch the videos or anything like that, but these are not very long. It's not a lot of time. And you can go back and look at all of these things in your icebreaker as many times as you want. So use the information that's in your projects and use that to help craft your speech as well. If you just go in and start writing your icebreaker before you read everything in the project, you may miss out on some really great tips or some of the things that people tend to do that they really shouldn't do. So try and read everything before you start your speech. Now, here again is level 1, and here's the 5 levels. I don't want to go through all the levels here, only because I want to show you another area where it shows you all these projects for each path. And that may also help you select your path. But what I want to do now is see whether or not anybody has any questions at this point in the presentation. Does anybody have questions regarding selecting a path or going through? Gabby.
Yes, hi. I was wondering if anyone other than yourself has access to information that you're writing in there for this to prepare for the speeches.
No.
Okay.
No, you can be as personal as if you were writing in a diary. Nobody can access it at all.
Thank
And
you.
your VPE has a very high level view of just what you have opened and what you've completed, but nobody can see your path.
Okay. And when you give a speech, do you have to come back and say that you completed it, or will the VPE put that in there?
Well, nobody can get into your path except for yourself.
Got it.
So You have to go back in and click on that path completion. Now, if your VPE knows that you gave the speech, but it's still showing as, not completed, they may remind you to go in there and do it. Or you may see it because it doesn't have a check mark, a green check mark on it. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah. So while you're going in to do your vocal variety speech, you'll see, oh, I never, completed those two. And then you can do it at that time.
Got it. That's very helpful. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm glad to see you.
Nice to see you.
Chris, can
Anyone
you hear me?
else?
Can you hear me? It's Kathy Myers.
Yes. Hi, Kathy.
So I am actually on a legacy path. What is the difference between the path and projects and then a legacy path?
Okay. Legacy Path has a different view. Doesn't have as many bells and whistles as you go through. Okay. You may get one video, but it's pretty much you have to go through all the screens, clicking through. The old one also has the question and answer at the beginning, your before and after quizzes. So I haven't experienced that in the new paths. So they're slightly different. And I think they did put a lot more into the paths when they updated it. What was it? Maybe 2 years ago?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stop midway in a path and pick another one, or it's best that you continue and complete all 5 levels?
Well, you can't all right, if your focus has totally changed, you can decide, you know what? This isn't the one for me, and it'll just always stay on your record as an unfinished path. But if you want a second path or your second beyond, it will cost $20 before the end of September. I believe it may be going up to 25 on October 1st. We're not sure because in the announcement that we received about the changes to pathways, it said that the new member registration fee was changing from $20 to $25 as of October 1st. However, I don't know if that is also going to be the new path amount. So if you want to buy a path, maybe buy it before September 30th, and then you may save $5. But if you're thinking about switching paths, you might as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Lori.
Hi, yes. Just curious. So I've been playing around in my pathway. I'm in presentation mastery, and I did an icebreaker speech already, but I wasn't really understanding that icebreaker speech was supposed to just be about me and like why I joined Toastmasters. So I gave a different speech.
Okay. Not everybody talks about themselves. So you can talk about, traffic
Okay.
as your icebreaker. It's just what the icebreaker speech does. It gives the club, your VPE and your mentor, just a base guideline where you are as far as your skills. That way, the VPE, if you haven't gotten a mentor already, the VPE sometimes selects the mentor based on, oh, well, she's comfortable. She just needs to be polished. So I'm going to give her this mentor, not that mentor. So your icebreaker can be anything you want.
Okay. And I do like the idea, though, that it would be about the new members. Giving the icebreaker speech would be about them, because then the club gets to know who they are and why they joined. I like that idea a lot. But then my other question is, so in that level 1 that we just looked at, it appeared that there were 4 different places to make a speech. There's 4 different opportunities to make a speech, but then you also mentioned you have to do at least 1 speech to complete it. So is it just sort of like you get to decide whether you do 1 versus 4, depending on how motivated you are and how you want to?
No. for every project listed, you must do a speech. So for your writing a speech with purpose, that's going to be your second speech. Vocal variety body language, third speech. Evaluation and feedback, the first time, the second time. So you'll have 5 speeches in
Okay.
level 1.
Okay, and that's where I was getting, 4 speeches, but 1 you do twice because you do it then again after the feedback.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
essentially you're presenting one thing twice. Okay, so at least 4 times to present before you can complete that level 1.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. And what's nice is you can talk about anything that you want. So some people do use Toastmasters to practice their presentations that they're going to be doing in their community organizations or work. You can do that too. I would save that for another level. Let the club just get to know you and your personality and things like that. And then start practicing those types of speeches. But you're more than welcome to give a business speech in level 1 if that's what your needs are. Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Anyone else? Okay, so
Hi.
let's go.
Hi, it's Francie here, or Francisca. Hi.
Uh-huh.
Hi. I posted something in the chat. I'm not sure
I'm just reading
if
it
you see the
now.
chat, but I just wanted to chime in and say that I did my icebreaker speech about a little over a week ago, and I also felt like what you were saying, like, oh, people are just being nice and they're so positive and encouraging. And motivating me, and I think they were not just being nice. I think they were actually very nice. But then I followed up on with several people the next day through the dashboard. So I just wanted to kind of give that as maybe a tip for some people that still have to do their icebreaker. That through the dashboard you can actually contact people. And I think some people might be hesitant, to do it in the larger group. But then when you email them through the dashboard, I got some really, really great feedback that way. And I kind of pick the people that I,
Yes.
admire and are like the most professional speakers in my opinion.
Thank you very much. We're just going to go into let's get people speaking. We do have someone that does a start to finish on pathways and all the different things available. That'll be another presentation because there's a lot in pathways and all the different resources that we do have. So we're going to save that for another time. But yes, the dashboard, you can go in there and ask other people for feedback. My recommendation is if you want more than just the person signing up to be your evaluator to provide you feedback, then ask them before, because they're going to listen better, they're going to pay attention better, and they're going to jot some notes. So if you ask them after the fact, they may have lost some things because they went through the rest of their day, and the next morning to, kids getting off to school on time and everything. So a lot of the different details are going to escape them. So try and ask people ahead of time. And Art did confirm that the paths should stay the same, $20. So thank you very much, Art. Okay. So we're gonna go back into my path. Let's go. All right. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to go back out to the home. And this is the home of your base camp. Your achievements are your badges. When you complete a level, when you complete certain projects, you can get a badge. It's a nice little recognition thing. Feedback. This is where she was just pointing out you can receive feedback online, not so much, somebody just putting in the speech evaluation form and emailing that to you. You can actually get feedback online. But I want to bring your attention to the resources. In the resources, this is where you can, let's see, now we're going to do all filters. Come on. All right. If you want to relook at a project description, you can do that. But evaluation resources, this is where I was saying you can get a glimpse of what your evaluator will be evaluating you on. So here's various different speeches. Connect with your audience, connect with storytelling, focus on the positive. Let's see, let's go into focus on the positive. So, whoops, okay. The purpose is for the member to practice being aware of their thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of their responses on others. Okay, pretty much, before you make an announcement, think about how it's going to impact people in the room. Be ready for people not being happy about your announcement, that type of thing. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share their experience completing the project. So for the evaluator, the member, during the completion of this project, the member recorded negative responses in a personal journal and worked to reframe them in a positive way. Listen for ways the member grew or did not grow from the experience. The member is not required to share details of the journal, but they should be able to give you an overview. So, and then the speech should not just be a report on how to focus on the positive. So this is what the evaluator is going to be looking for. So when the person gives this speech, they should be talking about, well, how did they react when someone wasn't in favor of things? How did that make them feel? Did it change their mind on something? So the same thing happens with icebreakers or anything else, any other projects. So you can go through and find your project. And these used to come up in alphabetical order, so I could always find everything really quickly here. But let's see, goal set. Oh, this is another thing I want to point out. If you have not done the goal setting worksheet, new members should look at this. It's a great way for you to set your short-term goals and long-term goals in Toastmasters. Now, your long-term goal could be finishing level 1. Your short-term goal is getting through the icebreaker. It depends. Everyone's experience is going to be different. If you use this and you do put in there what you're hoping to accomplish, maybe fears, overcoming, wanting to look at the ceiling all the time or your feet all the time, that type of thing, share it with your mentor and maybe even with your speech evaluators to say, can you count how many times I look at the ceiling when you're evaluating my speech? They don't have to mention it in the evaluation in front of everyone, but they can just footnote it on your evaluation or talk to you after the meeting. Because if you let people in on the goals that you want and the things that you want to overcome, you're more likely to get assistance I had a mentee that always looked at the ceiling. I started standing in the back of the room and I made sure he was making eye contact with the audience. He was so busy following my direction, pointing to different people. He never looked at the ceiling. But that was just a trick I used to get him to learn to focus on the audience and not the lighting. So use your evaluations to your advantage. And you may think a certain speech is, oh, I'm focusing on the perfect part. But when you read the evaluation, that's not what the evaluator is going to be looking at. So it may help you to write the speech and prepare for a speech that is going to be evaluated right on point. So the resources, it's very handy. So please use it. As I said, when you go back to the home screen, there's a lot of different information here. Let's see, I'm gonna go down, and if you want to get back, you've done your project, you know what you're going to do. Let me go back to Toastmasters Home. And this will bring you back to your homes, the page home screen. All right. And now I do want to bring you into the resources, because this is part that not every mentor may get into. And I want you to know about everything that is available at your fingertips. The resource library. There's so much information in here. There's various different forms and tips and everything, but the video library, like I said, there's videos about everything. If you want to become a really good storyteller, watch this video. It may intrigue you. It may give you the tips you need. If you don't feel that you're confident, for the first 3 speeches, I thought I was red in the face. I was getting really warm. I thought my knees were knocking and I was just shaking like a leaf. That was all my inner mind, my perception. I was fine up there, according to those that I asked in the audience. It was just my nervousness, my anxiety. So you can watch a video on that. Here's a little tutorial on gestures and body language, things to help keep your audience engaged, because talking with your hands is just flapping around and it's more distracting. You want to make meaningful gestures to emphasize a word or a section of your story, just like you do with your voice. Okay, so come down. I know it's a little awkward coming down all the way to the bottom to click to the next stage. But if you go through here or use the search function, you can find a lot of different videos on all kinds of different things that may just give you the edge that you were looking for. Podcasts. If you're a person, I'm starting to get interested in podcasts now. And I think when I get to my level 4 or 5, it may be part of one of my projects. So I may be doing one myself, but I'm going to start listening to other people's podcasts and taking notes to maybe incorporate certain things that I'm hearing and seeing into the podcast that I create. The brand portal, that's if you want to create flyers, that's more for your VPPR and stuff. And these are more for other officers, but I really think you're going to use the video library and the podcast of different subjects to get through a lot of things. Now, if you notice, this is just the overview. You have public speaking tips. So you go here, if you are, say, a realtor, and you go to those award ceremonies where you get your gold, award, platinum for sales, and you want to learn how to give a gracious acceptance speech, this is going to zone right in on that. Okay, eulogies, technical briefings for those in the corporate world. Giving something just with a lot of different statistics and graphs and charts can be boring. This will help you make it a little interesting, and it may focus on your voice, because as people are looking at the charts, they're starting to snooze, right? What's one way to keep everyone awake? Your voice, to keep it exciting. And that'll keep people awake throughout your presentation. Sales pitches, introducing speakers. You may need to introduce speakers at a PTO meeting or an assembly of some type. Within your church, you may be leading a group and you have someone from the outside coming to give a special presentation, or if you just want to learn the proper way of introducing people in your club. So there's various different things here to help you along your way. And visual aids and props, I got to tell you, 2 thumbs up. It's a great way to keep your audience engaged. So the online meetings, hybrid meetings, and contests, those are for guidance. Online meetings, if you want to learn about the roles of online meetings, you can, but I would use your resources tab and look up a Toastmaster wears many hats. And I'm going to be sending you all a copy of that booklet so that you can read it. And it's about all the different meeting roles and what it takes. Now, sometimes clubs don't have enough time to teach the newer members how to execute a role. This way you can read up on it, sign up for the role, and ask a more seasoned member, can you sit next to me and just help me with this? All right. Start with the counter and timer roles. Those are the easier ones. And then you can start in with general evaluator or table topics. Those are really fun. But like I said, you won't do a speech evaluation until you do complete that evaluation and feedback, because you need to really hear the format and the technique of a speech evaluation recommended by Toastmasters International. We call it the cookie method or the Oreo, because we do it in a certain way. And then if you get to be Toastmaster, well, that's running the whole show and you're responsible for everything. But use the booklet that I'm going to send you as a way to get used to what's expected of you. And then, because clubs do things a little different, ask a more seasoned member or your mentor to sit next to you and help you do that role. Now, as I said, Pathways there's a lot going on in Pathways, and you can utilize that feedback section and the resources, all that stuff. You can send people kudos when they complete their icebreaker and stuff. We do have a recording of a prior session, which I will include when I send out the recording of this meeting. But I'm hoping to have that same speaker do the presentation again, because it's actually how I learned how to navigate the new paths. I was on the legacy paths and I wasn't sure how to navigate around. So I attended a master class to learn. Now, I want to open it up to any questions about where you can find assistance, anything related to being a new member. No more questions, Lori?
I had stuck something in the chat about because I am a new member, so just like new to all of this, but it seems like it takes a long time to work really through a pathway to completion. I was just curious as to what is a reasonable amount of time, you know, over a year, 2 years, like how long does it take to work all the way through a pathway?
You know, Lori, it really depends. There's so many different variants when it comes to this, and no one should feel like it's a race to go through. Now, when I started, I had a lot of fears about public speaking. I was not comfortable in my own skin. So I made it a goal to give one speech every month because I knew if I waited too long, all those fears would come right back, and it would be like a constant Groundhog Day. You know, just like the movie, you're reliving the fears over and over again. So I put myself on that cadence of one a month. Now, my club also met every single Thursday. So I had opportunities where I could speak twice a month if I wanted to, especially when I just came back from a great vacation. I want to tell everybody about it. I wrote a speech about it, right? So I put myself back on the schedule. Some clubs, it's hard to get on the agenda. They only meet twice a month. So there's a lot of variables.
Okay, yeah,
You
and
know?
I'm in a corporate club and we meet once a month, so it makes it even more challenging to get, you know, the speeches in.
Only once a month. Wow. Okay. So then you may want to, how long ago did you join?
Uh, maybe March or April.
Okay, so you've been through quite a number of meetings.
Mhm.
Are there usually only 2 speakers or 3 speakers?
We usually only have one.
Oh, well, then you can get on that one every single month. You know, my corporate club, my community club, we always have 2 speakers, but we always have someone that'll sign up as the third or a backup, just in case people cancel.
Okay,
So you may want to talk to your vice president education to find out, you don't want to like hug, you know, every agenda. You want other people to be able to give speeches, but can you put yourself as a backup speaker or a third speaker, you know, giving people the chance to give speeches? And then that way you have your foot in the door for every meeting to give a speech.
yeah,
You know?
okay, and I wouldn't want to necessarily every meeting, but I like the idea of, you know, maybe a backup speaker or, yeah,
Right.
proposing that
Yeah.
as an option.
No, my community club, we have a lot of different speakers too. Everybody, you know, it's a variety, which is fantastic. But if you're only meeting once a month, you don't want to, you know, kind of get elbowed out of the way, you know, from giving a speech. So talk to your VPE about that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Gabby? You're on mute, Gabby. The dreaded
I
mute.
found the same challenge. I joined in January and the speech slots were filled and we were meeting twice a month at best. So I joined a few other clubs and there is no discount for multiple clubs, but so you still pay the $60 plus whatever, but
Yep.
you don't have to do another path because you already have that path that you're working on. So, and you have, you know, greater fellowship and everything that doubles or triples. So I actually belong to 3 clubs now, so I'm making up for lost time. because I've known about Toastmasters for so long and I haven't been able to be a part of it. So now I'm retired and I'm really enjoying it. So 3 clubs for me and lots of speeches coming up.
Yay, very good. So you are all in, you're taking advantage of everything that Toastmasters has to offer. And I have to tell you, you can find clubs that want speakers because they don't have enough members to give speeches. So find community clubs or people that you know and just join as a guest and see if they have an open speaking slot. And that way you can give a speech. You don't have to give your speeches at your own club. You can give your speeches at another club because they're going to give you your speech evaluation. So that proves that you gave that speech. And even people in a corporate club, if you give a presentation, like I was on a panel once, and it wasn't Toastmaster related, but I had a Toastmaster in the audience and they gave me an evaluation for speaking on a panel. So I think that was a level 4 speech. It's only on level 2 at the time, but I got credit for my speech. Always look to take advantage of different things and get credit for your speeches wherever it's at. As long as there's another Toastmaster there and they can time it and give you a speech evaluation, it'll be in your project plan.
Yes,
So
one more thing. This clubs that you can join online and yes, being a guest, but someone helped me with a speech for a eulogy. And because my VPE helped me with that, I got credit. And it's, yeah, I haven't logged any of that stuff in. That's why I was asking you who is responsible for that. But almost anything that you do, as long as it's about public speaking and you're connecting to. So thank you for that. And I appreciate your classes so very much.
Oh, thank you, Gabby. Well, and with that, I want to say, as the education chair for District 38, I really want to be here for the members, new members, old members, just all the members of the district and the clubs. I want to offer master classes that'll help people further themselves in their journey in Toastmasters. So if you have a niche, something that you're really, just so well, and you want to present a master class, please reach out to me. You're going to have my email, so please reach out to me. We have on Thursday, we do have Treasures of the District 38 webpage. That's a really special presentation. Michael Freelander is going to bring us through all the different things on our district webpage. But again, there's some hidden gems in there, like the Better Speaker series or the Leadership Excellence series, where you can find those modules, and those too help you with your skills, your presentation skills. And we also have Bonnie that's going to be talking at the end of the month about artificial intelligence, how we can use it for Toastmasters and in our everyday lives. Now, I'm afraid of artificial intelligence. I don't know, how much it's going to find out about me and what it's going to do, but I am excited to see your presentation. But if you're really knowledgeable about something, contact me about the subject. If you want to practice your introduction skills, I didn't have someone introducing me today, but on Thursday, I'll be introducing Michael. I need people just to introduce the facilitator. So if you want to try that and get out of your comfort zone, try something new, and get your face on a masterclass recording for the district to see, contact me. But I really want to hear from members and clubs what they want master classes on. I have a few that I'm working on, One is how to become a facilitator. Another one is how to overcome anxiety. A lot of different things like that. But if there's something that you want a masterclass created for, contact me.